Hi guys, Chet Doneth from Fabby River Farms. This is our small 5-acre homestead or small farm. And this video is just going to basically be how we added our male package bees to our hive. So I want this video to be kind of quick and to the point. We've done this successfully twice, which by no means makes us an expert on anything. But what I kind of want to convey in this video is just how easy this process actually is. And even if you make a few mistakes, it still is probably going to be okay. It's still going to probably work out. And so for years, basically why I want to make that message known is because for so many years I didn't want to do this because I felt like there's just too much. It's just too overwhelming. And there is certainly a lot of truth to that. There's a lot of challenges that go along with beekeeping. But I don't think that should stop or hinder you from getting started. We just kind of jumped into it head first. And what we found out is you learn a lot by doing. And you can learn a lot by reaching out to other beekeepers in your area. A lot of people do a lot of things differently in the south as opposed to in the north. And we're right here in the Midwest, so you know, a lot of things are different. So it's good to reach out to those local beekeepers that have a lot of experience in it. Anyway, with that being said, I just want to talk about what we did and how we did it successfully. So the first thing that we did was we got our boxes ready. And what that means is basically just putting them together, making sure they're ready. And we actually chose to paint them just to help kind of keep them a little bit more fresher looking and keep the wood from weathering so badly. So we put just a couple coats of paint on these. Other things that you can do to kind of get ready is if you have access to wildflowers or being able to plant those, you can do that. You certainly don't need to, but it's just something that can kind of help boost them a little bit. We planted a small, tiny little wildflower plot, and it just basically kind of gives them an area that's close by so that they can not have to travel as far, and it just kind of helps them, I think, get started a little bit. Like I said, you certainly don't have to. They'll find clover or dandelions or whatever they need to find in the wild. As long as you have some land nearby and something they can forage, they will find it. So the process of this whole, so we picked up our package from the postal service. So they don't deliver it here anyway. They didn't deliver it. What they did was they just called us that morning and they said, we have your bees. So we were told by the company, you know, when they would be delivered, and they were actually a day late. Few that were dead, but you know, that's going to happen. But for the most part, they were still successful, even being in the mail an extra day. So the post office called us that morning, and as soon as we could, in about a couple hours, we got to the postal service and we picked up our package of bees and brought those home. And so the first thing you do is you just want to kind of make sure that your queen is alive, because if your queen isn't alive, you're going to have some issues, and you're going to probably have to get with your company and go through whatever they need to do to replace your bees, and hopefully they will. So they'll come in a package like so, and they'll have some type of feeding device, which is typically both the packages we've had have just been cans with sugar water in them with some holes poked in them, and they will be inside of this hole right like this, and you'll have just a small little wooden flap over the top as such. And the queen will also be located somewhere nearby. Your bees will be in here. So what we do is we just pop this open. At that time, we'll go ahead and we'll take the queen out. We'll make sure that it has its candy plug in it. And we'll remove the cork so they can actually get to the candy plug. Now in this particular package, somehow or another, some bees got in with the queen. I have no idea how that happened. But I guess you could call it like a mistake or something, you know, that doesn't typically happen or isn't supposed to happen happened. I can tell you that we're 3 or 4 months down the road right now, and these bees are doing great. So it didn't really end up mattering anyway. So that's one of those things where, you know, if you're worried about it, it's probably going to be okay. So we just made sure that they were able to access that candy plug, because that queen will actually be in a small little tube or like a little wooden box with netting, and it'll be inside of there with some kind of candy or something that they can slowly chew through. So I have no idea how they got in there or if they were just shipped like that or whatever. But we removed that cork, and so they were exposed to that candy. And so it'll take a couple days to get through that candy, and while they're doing that, they can kind of get used to the pheromones or whatever the queen is putting off, and they're slowly introduced to that queen. If they can be introduced too quickly, she can fly off, or they can not like her and they can kill her. So that just kind of gives it a little bit of time, and that's what you're supposed to do. So we took our queen and we placed her inside, kind of in between the frames. The next thing we did is we took out,
all the way out
once the queen was safely inside of the box, we took out our candy can, our feeder can. We just basically took the box and we dumped them inside. So I just noticed here, I have the queen box here, so just let you kind of see that. See, it has a bit of tin on the top there, and so we just took that and we slid it between the frames so that it kind of held it in place there, and the queen was safely inside. On this end here, there's a small hole, and you can see where there's actually a little bit of cork left there, but they had a cork and then a candy layer that they could chew through. That cork basically just keeps them from that candy layer so they don't chew through it while they're in the male. And so we just removed that cork and let them chew through the candy. So we took our box and we just dumped them inside. Now, one thing that we did wrong is I think it would have been better if we would have taken 2 or 3 frames completely out, and so that would have given more space when we did dump them in. Those bees could fall down into the hive. So what actually happened is there was just a little bit of space. We basically dumped them on top of the hive, and so they were kind of mounded up on top, so it kind of gave us a little bit of trouble when we were closing the lid. But what we did, what you want to do when you close the lid is you want to start from one side and you want to get it to where it kind of contacts the side of the hive, and then you want to slowly slide that lid down that wood and the wooden sides until you get to the end, and then you can set it down on there gently. And what that does is, if there's bees in the way or if they're on the lid, they don't get crushed when you're passing that lid across. So if you just throw it down on there, all those bees that are on the rim right there are going to be crushed, and so you'll lose a little bit of bees. And typically they don't like that when they, you know, have those other bees that are dying. It sends off kind of an alarm, and they don't care for it. So you want to try to not kill as many bees as possible. And so when you slide that across there, those bees will move out of the way as you go, and then you can set your lid down. So guys, I know that was really cut and dry. It was really simple, but that's kind of what I want to convey, is that we made several different mistakes when we got the bees. They were, you know, like I said, there was bees already in there with the queen. So we kind of thought, we had a lot of doubts that maybe this wasn't going to work. We actually had a smoother, the first time we ever did this, it was actually much smoother. This time we made that mistake of not removing the frames. But what I just want to convey is that everything turned out fine. We made those mistakes, and you know, all that stuff happened, but everything turned out fine. So now, a couple months later, we have these healthy bee populations. We've checked on them a few times. The hive itself is super healthy. They're doing very well. They've got a ton of honey packed away for the winter. They've got larvae and they're producing young, and so they're you know, doing very well. So anyway, guys, I hope this helps you, and I hope if this gets you into beekeeping, or maybe makes the process a little bit more simple when you go to add your male package bees to your hive, then if you'd like to, drop a like, and you can definitely comment if you want to add to anything that I maybe didn't put in, or maybe you're just your experiences or whatever. But anyway, if you like homesteading and you like to learn about this type of stuff, hit the subscribe button and follow along on our little journey and get into the community. But I thank you for watching this, and have a great day.